As motorcades swept into high-level meetings, there is the appearance of diplomacy going on. But in opposing camps, hostility is building. Determined to punish the Assad regime and deter any repeat use of chemical weapons in Syria, Secretary of State John Kerry, a former criminal prosecutor himself, said the United States has the kind of proof that would stand up in court.
There is no military solution, and we have no illusions about that. But a resolution to this has to come about because the parties are prepared to come and negotiate that political solution. And if one party believes that he can rub out countless numbers of his own citizens with impunity, using chemicals that have been banned for nearly 100 years because of what Europe learned in World War I, if he can do that with impunity, he will never come to a negotiating table.
In Moscow, where the Kremlin continues to support Bashar al-Assad, they see things differently. Here, the Russian and Syrian foreign ministers face the American drumbeat with warnings and threats of their own.
More and more responsible political leaders share our view that the military scenario will end up in rampant terrorism, both in Syria and in neighbouring countries. It will end up in a dramatic increase of refugees, which is already happening since the US statement about their intent to launch military strikes against Syria.
Russia insists international military action without UN agreement is illegal. Syria says it will retaliate.
Our standpoint is that a political solution is the only way forward for the crisis in our country. But if there is any aggression, then our position will change.
John Kerry says the past weekend has produced a coalition that broadly backs the US position, including 12 of the G20 countries, as well as key Arab states and the Arab League. His work is not yet done. The Obama administration has done its best to persuade world leaders, and it'll now be working extremely hard on members of the United States Congress back at home. But there is stiff public opposition to the idea of another Middle East war. Opposition on the streets has been defied before in the run-up to war, but that won't stop them trying. Expect demonstrations like this one to grow far larger in the days and weeks ahead. Jonah, Al Jazeera, London.